And so this is something I tried to do last time. Yesterday, I tried to film this yesterday, and it didn't go too well because it went too long. Or maybe um when I the day before I went to work. Oh well, I guess that doesn't matter. Where I wanted to talk about some of my favorite Christmas movies, but because as I'm just so bad at giving summaries, I end up giving away too many details, and I'm caught between trying to decide, do I give away everything and spoil things and just let you guys know ahead of time that I'm spoiling if you never seen the movie, or do I try to just give like basic, the important information and then not spoil anything. So, since I think I'm just gonna warn you guys that I'm gonna spoil it, but not give away how how the ending happens, of course, because that would be too much. It would basically be me giving a play-by-play of the movie. These are no, like, I did put these in a certain order, but I don't, you can ask me why I have them in this order, but I won't really have much of an answer, because it's hard for me to pick. I mean, there's some that I lean more towards others, but I can't pinpoint why I prefer them over others. So, the first Christmas movie we are going to talk about is a more modern Christmas movie that came out only a few years ago, like mid 2000s, I think, or maybe early 2000s, I don't remember. And that is Elf, starring Will Ferrell. And some veteran actors, of course, and some not so veteran actors, but actors that have been around for a while. This is a story about this man, Will Ferrell's character, Buddy. When he was a baby, he was abandoned by his mother at an orphanage. And when Santa comes to visit the said orphanage, he ends up crawling into Santa's sack. I can't think of the word. Sack, I'll just say sack. His little, bag of Christmas presents. And he ends up traveling with Santa back to the North Pole, and Santa decides to keep the baby, and have one of his elves raise the baby as his own. And they called him Buddy. So he was raised by the elves, with making the toys, raised on eating sugar and, all that jazz. So Buddy grows up in the North Pole. But of course, he is still human, so first of all, he's bigger than all the elves, so he doesn't fit in he doesn't fit in an elf bed or fit in the elf shower, and there's actually a little montage in the movie where they show that he can't make toys as well as the elves can. And he overhears too, after a failure at making some toys, he overhears some of the elves talking, and he finds out that he is human. So he learns from Papa Elf and Santa that his dad, Walter Hobbs, is a publicist for children's books living in New York, but unfortunately he is on the naughty list. So Buddy decides to head to New York to meet his father, Walter. And of course his father doesn't believe him, thinks he's just some crazy man dressed like an elf. And he ends up getting a job he ends up hiding out in a department store and he ends up actually, because the manager of the manager of the department thinks he's one of the employees, so he ends up working for the day at the Christmas department of a department store. He meets a woman there. I just saw the movie a few days ago, and when it was playing on TV, but I cannot remember her name. I still can't remember her name. Let me see if her name is on here. No, it just calls her the department store elf, played by Zooey Deschanel. And he likes her, and then he ends up, because when the department store Santa shows up, he's thinking it's the real Santa, but then he gets mad at the Santa. And I just realized I'm doing it again, doing the play-by-play, but you know what, I'm on a roll here, so So he gets kicked out of the department store after fighting with the fake Santa because he's like, "You're not the real Santa." And it's a really funny scene because he's like, "You sit on a throne of lies," and just and so his father ends up finally is forced to claim him as his son, especially when a doctor confirms that Buddy is his biological child. He takes him home to meet his son Michael and his wife Emily, and he just he'll gives this very unique impression of himself, because he's obsessed with Christmas. He's very hyperactive. He acts like he has the mentality of a child that just, and he really just wants to do the things that you would do with your father or mom when you're a kid, like having snowball fights, making snow angels, calling him when he's at work because he's scared. And of course, Walter is not the best parent. He's in fact a bit of a workaholic. And he even bonds with, Emily's nice to him and everything and cares about Buddy, and he bonds with his son Michael. And he also goes on a date with the woman at the department store, the employee at the department store, and it's such a cute movie. It's so sweet, and I'm going to stop right there before I give away too much. So I know I said that I would, I'm so bad at this, describing like plots and stuff. So sorry, I think I said that in the beginning of this I would spoil it, but I'm just gonna. But you know what? I am gonna stop right there, and just say how much I love this movie. It's fun, and it's a funny Christmas movie. And if you're a Will Ferrell fan, I think it's one of his best ones, in my personal opinion. I'm a little particular about Will Ferrell. I can't always watch every one of his movies, although I'm very tempted to watch his latest movie, where he's partnering once again with John C. Reilly. It's a Sherlock and Watson movie. Like, it's a Sherlock Holmes movie. And I think they're kind of, making fun of Sherlock Holmes. So I'm like thinking, oh, I gotta see that. I hope I didn't just gross you guys out, because I think some stuff came out of my nose. It's such a good, heartwarming movie about love and about the importance of family, and of course it explores the theme of believing in Santa a tiny bit, but the most of the focus is on Bunny's story with his father, his biological father. It's just like I said, it's just a funny movie, and I think it's a great Christmas movie to watch with your family. It's, not too, because it's a family movie, so it's not too racy with the humor and stuff. There is adult humor in there, of course, but it's not. But a kid can watch this movie, and your parents don't have to worry about protecting their kids. So, let's see. So the next one that I'm going to talk about, I'm only going to talk about 3 in this video, because I don't want this video to be too long, and then I'll film a part 2 and however many parts I have to make to talk about all the movies I want to talk about. So the next one I'm going to talk about is a Christmas classic that has been around for years, since the 1800s actually, not the movie, but the story itself, A Christmas Carol. And there are a lot of versions of A Christmas Carol that were made, and I don't have any of them. I used to have a VHS copy of Mickey's Christmas Carol, but of course, VHS isn't, they don't sell them anymore, and no one has a VHS player anymore, so. But, like I said, this is one of those times where I don't know why I prefer this one over others. I just do. I can't really pinpoint exactly why, because it's not the only one where it's done in this format. And I'm not talking about the movie, I mean the genre of it. And that is the music, A Christmas Carol, the musical, where Kelsey Grammer is Scrooge, and you have Jane Krakowski from 30 Rock fame, and she also played Betty Rubble in Flintstones Viva Rock Vegas. If you are one of those kids that actually watched Ally McBeal, she was also one of the secretary in that one at the law firm. And then you have, I still cannot remember his name. Every time I film this video or I practice what I'm going to say on this video, I still cannot remember his name. But the guy who plays Ghost of Christmas Present is the same guy from the original Rent cast, and he also did the movie. He was also, I think, on Ally McBeal as well, and I can't think of what else he's done. I cannot remember his name, but he played Tom Collins in Rent in the original cast. It will at some point it's gonna pop into my head, or I can always look it up. I don't. But anyway, he's the Ghost of Christmas Present. And fun fact, not about the movie, but in my old home, where I grew up, before we moved here, we were involved in the community theater. Well, I wasn't involved as much. I just went to go see the shows. At the local community theater, my dad, when they put on the play, he was the Ghost of Christmas Present. But it was not a musical in that case, so it stuck closer to the book, or so. And then you have Geraldine Chaplin is the Ghost of Christmas Future, so you actually see a face with the Ghost of Christmas Future, or the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come. You don't, like, because I know in a lot of versions, it's just this figure in a black cloak. You don't see the face, and they have I can't remember what those things are called. I can't remember what they're called, but I'm sure you guys know what I'm talking about with the gestures. But in this case, you actually see her, and Jennifer Love Hewitt plays the part of Belle. It's Scrooge's love interest from when he was a young man. Let's see. Jason Alexander plays the ghost of Jacob Marley. And I don't know who else if there's anyone else in it, but I love this one. This is one of my favorite versions of the story, like I said, and I love the music. It's so beautiful, and so triumphant, just makes you feel warm and fuzzy. I mean, and all of the versions do. I definitely lean more towards the musical versions that have a more, sorry, just checking my shirt. See, it wasn't backwards. I do lean towards the more musical versions, like, I also love A Muppet Christmas Carol because they're more fun, and I appreciate what Charles Dickens wrote in the words and the dialogue, but it's kind of nice to watch a musical version of a story like that. And it was also, and the 2009 version was pretty cool too, with all the new way of animating things. I thought that was a pretty cool concept. And of course, Jim Carrey plays Scrooge, and all the ghosts and stuff. And I'm a huge fan of Jim Carrey, so that was awesome. And I don't, and I love the message, but the message is in every story, of course, every version of Christmas Carol, but it's just, like I said, I don't know why, I can't pinpoint exactly why I prefer that one. I mean, maybe it's partly due with, I rarely get to see that one, so I have a little bit of a soft spot for that one. But I don't know. Okay, so I'll talk about one more in this video, but I can't. Which one? Which one do I want to talk about next? Okay, well, I will go with another Christmas classic, which this is the only one on this list that it's not focused on Christmas. Like, it happens, it takes place during Christmas time, but it's not centered, the plot isn't about Christmas. It's like those Hallmark countdown to Christmas movies where Christmas is the background of the story. And it inspires the characters and whatnot. And that is It's a Wonderful Life. This one is a classic. And I think you could get away with watching that movie all year round, because like I said, Christmas does not play a central role in the story, but it is part of it. So this one is a story about this happy-go-lucky man, George Bailey. He has a good life. He has big dreams. He's just an all-around nice guy. Everybody loves him in town. He helps everybody in any way he can. Just a good guy. So, when his father dies, if I'm remembering it correctly, he ends up taking his whole wanting to go see the world. He has to set that aside, because when his dad dies, he has to take over the family business of the building and loan. the Bailey family runs. And he also, but, his life isn't, as that, even though he doesn't get to fulfill his big dreams, he does marry the girl of his dreams, and he has a family, they buy a fixer-upper house, they have a pretty good life, and he's not, jealous of his brother, who is the one who does get to go away to college and see the world. He's happy. But then, after an incident where he has to borrow money from the meanest, richest citizen in town, Mr. Potter, and his uncle accidentally lose the said money that he was going to get back to Mr. Potter to pay him back, this puts him in a really terrible position, and he is freaking out and panicking because, if he can't pay back Mr. Potter, then he might lose the building and loan to Mr. Potter. And then on top of that, he is, really stressed out, and he is reminded how the house is still not the way he wants it to be, and it's falling apart and everything, and he gets really upset and snaps at his family and then takes off, and, is going to, and then contemplates that the world, I think he contemplates killing himself. He contemplates suicide. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, but I know that, and he is visited by his guardian angel, Clarence, who tells him that I am going to help you and show you a world where you don't exist. And Clarence, if he's able to help George, he will get his wings. So he puts George in an alternate reality where he never was born. His brother, whom he saved when they were kids, who died, and his mom is living, in a little shack. The town is owned by Mr. Potter. His uncle is even worse off. He's essentially a drunk. Everyone he's helped and influenced in his town is on their worst, it's the worst case scenario. They're all in a really bad place. Everything really sucks for these people, and even especially Mary, his wife, is now a spinster. She never married the other guy, and because there is a bit of a love triangle. It's kind of introduced, but it doesn't play much of a part because it's just there, and then it's like, but then it just goes away really quickly. In this case, since this is an older movie, I'm gonna spoil it for you. So if you have not seen this movie, and you want to see it, then don't, just skip ahead a little bit. I don't know how to do that thing where you put little timestamps on there. But this is gonna be the last one I'm gonna talk about anyway, so it doesn't matter. Just stop watching if you don't want to be spoiled. So although it's kind of like how it's gonna turn out, so it's probably not much of a spoiler. But George realizes this is realizes this is not what he wants. He wants to go back to his own life. He doesn't like this reality, and he does. He gets saved, brought back home, and then it turns out when he gets home that he finds out that Mary had called everybody in town, and they all offered to give money so that he can pay back Mr. Potter. And then, of course, you hear the bell ring, and Clarence gets his wings, so it ends all happy and everything. And this is a classic, like I said. It's in black and white originally, but I think when they brought it, to home video, like Blu-ray and DVD, they restored it to color, I believe. But it's such a heartwarming movie. It's a very feel-good movie. It's cheesy, and, there's some sentimental moments. But it's still it's a good movie to watch during Christmas. I feel like around Christmas time, and maybe I'm the only one who feels this way, but I feel like Christmas is the perfect time to watch cheesy, happy movies where everything works out and people believe in the spirit of Christmas. I feel like this is the perfect time to watch movies like this. And Jimmy Stewart, of course, he's a good actor. It's a good movie. I definitely recommend it. So those are all the ones I'm going to talk about right now. They're not my only favorites, but I'm going to film another video where I talk about some other favorite Christmas movies of mine. But I want to get this done now so I can post it for Christmas. Or close to Christmas anyway. So, either you can share on here in the comment section below, or share in my other ones what your favorite Christmas movies are. I hope if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already and haven't been watching this video. And as always, I hope you all are enjoying your reading and enjoying your Christmas holiday, if you celebrate Christmas, of course. If you don't celebrate Christmas or you celebrate one of the other holidays, I hope you are enjoying that holiday. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye.